have a few people joining us so far. I don't want to make you wait anymore since you are on time, so we will get started. My name's Jenna, and I'm with Merging Destinations. We represent cool companies and cool places. And today I'm being joined by Mauricio Kusanovic, who you can also see on your screen. And he's the executive director at Las Torres Patagonia Reserve. So today we have a little bit of a different layout to our webinar. We are actually just going to be doing a live Q&A session. So for that reason, we don't have a formal presentation. It'll more just be an opportunity for you to ask Mauricio any questions that you might have about the recent opening of Chile, what it's like to travel right now, etc. Before we get started, though, I'm going to take just a quick minute to introduce our portfolio to you. So since we are talking about Las Torres Reserve, I'm going to introduce our South American portfolio to you. Although, as you can see, we also have an extensive portfolio in Europe and Africa as well. So if you do have any questions on those, please feel free to reach out to me. So in South America and Central America, though, we have Grand Hotels Lux. They have properties in Uruguay and Argentina. Enchanted Expeditions, they are a DMC on mainland Ecuador, as well as they have ships and a hotel in the Galapagos Islands. Travel Pioneers, they are a boutique DMC located in Costa Rica, but they actually cover the majority of Central America as well. We also have Colombian Journeys, who are a DMC in Colombia, and Chile Concept, who is a DMC in Chile. So if you have any questions about any of the companies that you see up there on your screen, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can see my email address at the bottom of the screen. So on that note, I'm going to hand things over to Mauricio.
Hey, how's it going? Can you hear me well, right?
I can hear you good, yeah.
That's great, that's great. Well, hopefully we'll answer many questions today about how to enter Chile, some rules, regulations. We're still in the coronavirus world. Hopefully it should be finished very soon. I will present to you now just the first 5 minutes, a little bit about Torres del Paine. So whoever is there listening and doesn't know who we are, this will give you a rough idea. Like Jenna said, we're not going to talk much about the product now, but more about the questions. So, hey, very important, ask all the questions you may have. Write it down on the system. Jenna will prepare for me, and we will just start a conversation.
As he just mentioned, please, we would love to encourage you to type through any questions that you have for us using the GoToWebinar control panel. There's a question box, so just type those through, and then I will be fielding them and asking Mauricio. So please type them through as they come up here in the next few moments.
Yes, that's it. So first of all, what is Torres del Paine? Oh, this is what we're going to talk about. I'm pretty sure you're able to see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll talk about mountains, lakes, river, this amazing place in Patagonia. I'm sure most of the people here have already sold it or been there or have clients that are going to Torres del Paine. This is a national park, really out of the extraordinary, you know, a lot of landscape, wildlife, and we are right there in the middle. So we are, this is all the different trekking tools that you can actually take from night days until 3, the W trek, or full days. You know, we are located right there in the middle of the national park. So it's very, very important for us that, you know, we have a really amazing location for trekking, horseback riding, for enjoying the park. Okay. So this is a property. We are a private reserve within the national park. And so one of the products we have on the way to Torres del Paine, because you will arrive at Punta Arenas or Puerto Natales airport, you know, and we have Stancia Cerro Negro, and this is a small stop we make, so we share with all the tourists here about Patagonia, about the life of the pioneers, about we are part of a Stancia, you know, and this is where we share a sheep, we give some lunch to people, and then we continue to Torres del Paine. And in Torres del Paine, we have one of the main products is Hotel Las Torres Patagonia. You know, it's a 75-room hotel, all-inclusive experience, and that's the one we sell the most and the one we like the most, because we go pick you up at the airport. You don't have to really worry about anything. We have different kind of facilities. You have 75 rooms. Most of them, they are standard rooms and only 2 suite rooms. and then you have a bar, a restaurant, and really excursion is one of our main um, product, you can call it, because I mean people go there not to stay in a room but to enjoy the national park. We have rock climbing, horses, 220 horses. You know, we have the biggest amount of horses within Torres del Paine. So going to Las Torres on a horseback riding Patagonia, it's a must. With these guys, the gauchos, you know, it's part of our culture in Patagonia, and we're very proud of being an Stancia before we started being a reserve. We have Puma tracking tools. So all the different kinds of tours, you can check it on the website, or you can just contact Emerging Destinations and we will send you all the brochures you may need. We have a small spa, a kitchen garden, in which you can actually go there and see what we are producing there, right there from the organic garden to the restaurant, and different trekking circuits, which is another product we have. We sell, and we've been selling 25 years, the W Trail. We are part of an expert in Torres del Paine regarding trail experiences, and we go here lodge to lodge. You can do it in, you get there by car, but then you just start enjoying all the facilities, you know, and from one place to another, you will move from a lodge to a lodge. You can do camping, you can do Refugios, which is a six bed share accommodation. But it's absolutely amazing if you really want to enjoy the national park trekking with a backpack. We also have our equipped full camping experience, in which you don't have to bring anything. This is how most of the people do the W trek. They like to camping. So we have all those kind of programs for you. We started as a farming family in Torres del Paine, then we moved to sustainable tourism, and now we just really try to do conservation in this amazing place. So we created the NGO Ama Torres del Paine. So we're able to create things with a very low footprint. And this is a welcome center once you enter the reserve, in which you can actually have control by our park rangers. They're within the reserve. They close trails. We do reforestation projects. We try to get the people involved, get the tourists involved. So we're very proud of different projects we do here, and hopefully you'll be able to know us and tell the clients that they're not just going to a hotel or just taking a trekking circuit. They're just going to a place in which our family have been taking care and really love. You know, that's one thing that I think we've been living there for the last 25 years. You know, it's a family-owned company, and now we have a vision and a mission, which is actually pretty big. You know, we'd really try to be a worldwide reference for sustainable tourism and conservation, trying to inspire people, your tourists, you guys, with the nature and culture of Patagonia. Okay, so you can check our website, and any questions you may have, just we're here to answer them. So, do we have any questions, Gina?
Yeah, so we did get one that just got typed through, so I will ask you that one. Does one need to adjust to the altitude upon arrival?
No, not at all. Well, that's one thing about Torres del Paine, and I know it looks big, you know, the mountains, and you may think this is like really high altitude. Right at the hotel, which we're really at the foot of the mountain, it's about 120 meters high. So it's very low. You don't need days to accommodate at all. Actually, you don't need minutes. Just get there. Your city may be higher than us in general. So mountains are 3,000, 2,800 meters high, but most of the trekking happens between 100 and 500 meters high. So there's really no need to accommodate to weather or climate or anything.
Yeah, that was one thing that really surprised me when I went. You know, we got there, and right the next day we were hiking. So you're really basically at sea level there essentially. So you don't need that altitude. All right, we have another one come in here. Is there any word about the borders opening in both directions? So from Calafate and vice versa.
Okay, I will tell you first about entering Chile. Okay. Which is actually the biggest way you can come to Torres del Paine now. And things have changed for the good, I would say, from the 1st of December. So this already started more than 15 days ago. You can enter Chile but you have to follow some rules, and I will just try to explain here the different rules you need. Okay, so first of all, there's a couple of airports available for you. It's not really much important because the most important in the international airport to enter Chile is Santiago de Chile. Okay, so you will have to arrive to Santiago. Okay, there's some countries that are not allowed to enter, and this is because of the new virus, right? Which is South Africa, Zimbabwe, Namibia, Lesotho, Botswana. Most of them, the African countries, they're not allowed to enter Chile now because they're closed the borders to those countries because of the new variant of the coronavirus, right? But the rest of them and most of the countries in which we receive, especially the United States, they really have no problem. So what do you have to do to enter? First of all, you need to get a PCR test 72 hours before getting to the flight. Okay, that's, I think, a lot of places that's a rule or something. Okay, so secondly, you have to make a declaration. It's a swear declaration online. You know, for every traveler, there's a website, www.c19.cl, and just get there and fill it in. Okay. Then you have to have a medical insurance for a minimum amount of $30,000. You can get them easily now. We already have receiving clients from the United States. But a couple things is important. Before, we had a minimum of 5 days of quarantine entering Chile. We don't have that anymore. Okay, so once you enter Chile, and you will have an obligatory PCR test right there at the airport, and you do not have to wait the result to get on your plane to Patagonia. Okay, you can actually just get in your plane and get the results on the way here, but you will have to go at the hotel you've set. Okay, so the PCR tests, they're taking between 8 to 10 hours to receive them, so they're very fast. Okay, so before you had to do the quarantine and wait the PCR test before you take the flight. Now you don't have to do that, so people can really go straight to Patagonia. There's really no problem. Okay, so once you do that, and there's one thing you have to do, which is you have to homologate or convalidate your vaccination plan. Most of the people have been vaccinated. Once you're vaccinated, you have to apply to a mobility pass in Chile. Okay, that takes about 30 days. They're actually, what we hear in our clients, the average you're getting this, it's about between 12 and 15 days. But the government says once you enter, you apply, you have to wait a maximum of 30 days. So my recommendation is to do this 45 days or even more before. Okay, so once you do those steps, which are very clear and people have been said they're simple, if you just apply them, there's no problem. A country with a QR code, which I don't think it's United States. I think most of the European countries, it's actually taking a couple of days just to get the mobility pass in Chile. So once you have the mobility pass, you're great. You're able to enter Chile, and it lasts 90 days, same as the tourist visa. So so those things have been easier for clients and for tour operators. I know it's really no fun either taking a PCR test and everything, but believe me, it's worth it. It's worth it. So this is to enter Chile through Santiago and then flying to Punta Arenas or Puerto Natales, which are the two main airports. Still, from Argentina, we have a date that the 1st of November, the 1st of January, the borders should be open in Argentina. That's what the government has announced. I cannot guarantee it 100%. Things have changed sometimes in some countries, but that's the announcement we have. So after the 1st of January, you will be able to enter or leave from Argentina here in Torres del Paine. There's still, to be honest, still a couple of rules we are waiting to hear if they're going to apply the same rules. Some things are not very clear. So as now, I would recommend you to come to Torres del Paine through Santiago and then Punta Arenas, through Chile, to avoid any information you may not know here and then. In Puerto Natales, there is a laboratory, because I know some people, when they go back to their countries, they might just also need some PCR test or some rules. So there's a laboratory in Puerto Natales, and we have an agreement. So you will be able to get a PCR test at the hotel in Torres del Paine, and get it in a couple of hours. Okay, hopefully we can plan this, but there are even emergency PCR tests that can be done in just a few hours, and you will get the test in a few hours also. It may cost you a little bit more if we programmed, but I mean it's actually possible in small town like we are here in Torres del Paine and Puerto Natales.
So you guys can facilitate all of that then, correct? You can get a
Well,
PCR test from
yeah.
at the hotel
We
or
will have all the we will have, once we get somebody that actually needs the test, we will
Mhm.
make all the arrangement with the laboratory, and so they don't really have to worry, and things should be coordinated before. I
Right.
don't really want to improvise right there at the moment, but if we coordinate everything, there is a service and there is a company that does it.
Wonderful. Is that PCR test that you mentioned that you have to take when you get into the Santiago airport, is that free of charge, or do you know the cost for that?
So far, it's free of charge.
Oh, that's amazing. Great.
Yeah. In my,
Excellent.
if things change, we will let everyone knows. But so far, it's free of charge.
In terms of can unvaccinated children enter Chile? Of course, there's still some countries where children under 12 cannot be vaccinated. So if this is the case and vaccine is not allowed where they live or not available, etc., does Chile still allow them to enter just using a negative PCR test?
No, and I think I have the information here. Um, some if your kid's not vaccinated, which is 6 up, it's hard to enter Chile. It's not
Okay.
possible. So yeah, I know some countries still don't vaccinate all their childrens uh, but with kids sometimes it gets a little bit more complicated. 6 up, if they're vaccinated, you will be able to enter Chile following the same rules as the adult, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. We'll have to wait until the rule change.
Right. Okay. Now to get into some more specific questions about operations once you actually get to the hotel, how are you currently selling the Refugios? I know previously, once the pandemic started, you had to sell the entire room, which is 6 beds, even if it was just for one passenger, etc. Is that still the policy, or has this been updated?
This was updated. No? So we don't you don't need to reserve the whole 6 bed in each room every time you're 2 people, for example. So we've changed that, and the only thing we need is the mobility pass, which you will get when you enter Chile.
Right. So to clarify, do you need that mobility pass do you apply for it before you enter Chile, or you
Yes.
enter Chile and then apply for it?
No. You need to apply at least 30 days before
Before.
your plane ticket
Before entry.
entering Chile. Yeah. So if
Right.
you think of
Okay.
coming here in February, apply it now. You can apply it whenever you want, right? If you already
Right.
have the vaccines, you are able to apply it.
Okay. Okay. In terms of food and beverage facilities, services that are currently available along the W circuit, is everything open and operational, or is there still restrictions due to the pandemic in that area?
Well, everything is open. All the refugios are open, and the services are working perfectly. I mean, of course, we have less staff, but not because we have less services, but more because we're just still with a small demand. We don't have high season yet, and it's not going to be a high season, normal high season.
Right.
But yeah, you'll be able to get services. All the stores are open. It's pretty normal actually.
So you mentioned the stop at the Stancia Cerro Negro that you do along the transfer to the park.
Yeah.
Are you still offering that visit currently, that lunch visit, etc., when you're departing or arriving to Punta Arenas Airport?
Yeah, that already started, and that's for the all-inclusive programs that goes to the hotel. Yeah, we're running and serving people amazing Patagonia lamb.
Yes, it was very good. I thoroughly enjoyed my stop over at this Cerro Negro Stancia. I love the history and everything of the region and the family, and it's fantastic. It's a great introduction before getting into the park.
Yeah. One thing I forgot about the regulations to enter here in the now. Well, during the 14 days after you enter Chile, every day you have to log in and just fill in a small report for a couple questions. It actually takes 1 minute to do it, okay? But you have to fill in and report. That's all. And we have internet in Torres del Paine, so that's really not a problem for us.
That's the first 14 days once you've entered the country? Okay.
Yes,
So that's just probably keeping track of symptoms, how you're feeling, etc., where you are.
exactly.
Okay. Um, would also just like to encourage people to keep typing through questions as we go here. Now's your opportunity. You have Mauricio at your disposal, so I want to encourage you to type those through. So
One thing.
oh, sorry,
Uh,
go ahead, Mauricio.
yeah, just to maybe finish regarding how the pandemic rules or coronavirus situation in Torres del Paine, things are actually pretty normal. I mean,
Mhm.
the only thing you may, if you're not used to, because in your countries, a lot of states in the United States, they don't even wear masks at public. We do wear masks at public. If you sit in a restaurant, you can take it off and eat, no problem. You won't eat. I mean, the mask, it's more to public spaces, and so that's pretty much it. Alcohol, on your hands is everywhere around. You will find there. Temperature, automatic temperature. Once you enter
Mhm.
the hotel, things like that. Pretty normal. I mean, at the beginning we thought that was gonna really jeopardize the experience of the people, but to be honest, people have been there now. We've seen this 15 days in the Hotel Las Torres and the trekking circuits, and people are amazing, and people are just happy, and it's worth
Yeah.
the small effort here.
All right. Sorry. So in terms of transfers, with the all-inclusive package, um, how many people can you accommodate, with that at one time?
Again, sorry.
Oh, sorry. So when you're doing the transfers that are included, with the all-inclusive package, how many people can you accommodate?
Usually it's 8. We have different type of bands. If there's any special request, and sometimes we do change from band to band regarding depending on how many people are coming or if the group is big. But usually it's 8 people per band. And that's the type of accommodation, the type of bands we have.
Okay, we just had another question here, so I'm going to read this one to you. At one time, you had this restriction, Refugios. During season, every Tuesday and Thursday, November to March, ask for dates in April, minimum of 2 guests. Does that still apply?
During season, every Tuesday and Thursday. I'm not sure what is the restriction. Um, Tuesday and Thursday. Okay, maybe they can be more specific about what was the restriction. I mean, so far we have. I mean, we work every day. There might be a couple of programs, special programs that they have specific dates,
Right.
and those will have to be checked. We can actually send them all the different dates and the departing times, because we do have some fixed programs that can just come here. But
Mhm.
to be honest, with the once we lift the restrictions about that you do not have to uh, hire or rent the whole room for 6 people, I think for individuals things became more flexible. So now you can just pretty much start every day or any day if you're self-guided. So maybe that's what he was asking about. Okay.
Okay, so another question here, and I know you spoke a little bit about the testing facilities that you have at the park. So now to return to the US, you need a negative COVID test result within 24 hours of boarding the plane. Is that a problem to get it at the hotel? Or
No.
is there any locations in Santiago, Chile that you can get that at the airport or etc.?
Okay. Oh, in Santiago, Chile, there's many private labs that you can actually take a PCR test. Okay, it's a big city. So, but important to tell is we are just came from, I mean, yesterday of closing a deal with the laboratory test. Most of the hotels in Torres del Paine, they will have the same laboratory. It's actually the only one there, and they're able to provide different kinds of services. If we program the whole test, they'll come here, but even if we have to do some emergency test, it is
Right.
actually possible. Okay, so and we can actually, I commit to all of this, the people watching, all the people that subscribe, that maybe we can actually send the prices for all the different types of services
Sure.
regarding a PCR test.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And can include antigen as well, correct? Because as to
Yeah.
my knowledge, you only need an antigen to enter the US, whereas Canada, you need a PCR.
Okay. It could, I mean, it's actually the second one is faster and you have it in a couple minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, just another clarification question. Um, for returning to the US from Santiago, can clients get the PCR test at the airport before boarding the plane that night? If it's a PCR test, I'm thinking that's quite risky because you'd need to allow time in to get the results.
Let me, there is one laboratory at the airport in Santiago
Okay.
that makes PCR tests, and actually I've seen 4 hours in their advertising. So my guess is that you can actually do this if you're coming from Patagonia here in Torres del Paine or Puerto Natales, okay, rather than
Hmm.
just doing at the airport in Santiago. But if you get to Santiago and if that's the case, you have a laboratory there, you can actually do it and go and pay for the service. We can send you the information of the link of the
Right.
lab, and it's right there at the airport. We know that.
Yeah, so it seems that the concern is actually from the people typing through, it's with actually getting the results within that 24-hour time period, having that guaranteed. So I think what Mauricio was saying is if they do it at the hotel or in Puerto Natales at the facility that they have coordinated with, they can then guarantee you that you will have that result within the 24 hours before boarding your plane. Especially if you're just leaving Patagonia to go straight to Santiago to leave, it makes more sense to get your test done the day before that you travel.
Yes, yes,
Oh,
but just there is one lab at the airport in Santiago. Okay,
right.
so
Okay.
worst case scenario, you can get that, and they have a one PCR test that can be done in 4 hours. At
Okay,
least
perfect.
that's what I saw on their promotion flyer.
So yeah, so one agent has a client who has about a 12-hour layover at the airport before returning to the US. So I think that's the biggest concern is just coordinating so they can ensure you get their test results before they need to board their plane.
Yes,
And we can get you the name of that lab and the cost at the airport as well. We just had somebody type that through, so we will make sure to share that information with you. And we can do that in the webinar follow-up as well. Make sure that you have all of those, all of the different facilities and costs, etc.
sure, we can send that, no problem.
All right. Any other questions that we have coming through? I think we're just about at the 30-minute mark, so I think we've gone through most of all the questions, in fact, that have come through. Let me just scan here quick.
Yeah. Well, if you mind me saying something, I've been in the national park this past well, couple weeks, and we've been traveling a lot, and it's absolutely amazing. People have been getting from United States once they follow all the different regulations and they just apply, they get the mobility pass with time, and it really
Hmm.
shouldn't be a problem. There was a problem and a big delay when this system started, but to be honest, it's been improving a lot.
Yeah.
All the research regarding the mobility pass, they are within, I don't know, 15 days, sometimes 8 days, and they have a maximum, which they say to you, which is 30 days. So if you usually clients that come to Patagonia, they book their flight and they book their experience more than 30 days. So I would suggest once you book your flight, just do
Hmm.
right now if you're vaccinated, do the mobility pass, apply to that, and shouldn't have much of a problem. The PCR tests are taken once you get in at the airport. you can actually travel directly to Torres del Paine, to our hotel, and stay there and wait for the results. And of course, if worst case scenario something happened, you test positive at the hotel, we have the facilities in the rooms. We've left a couple of them in case things like that happen. So we've been training for over a year and something regarding the
Hmm.
coronavirus. So I can guarantee you things are pretty normal. The staff, it's working normally at Torres del Paine. It's a beautiful national park. I've seen so many pumas the last couple of days I've been there, and I would suggest people to come to Patagonia. It's a great place, a lot of nature, and to get away a little bit of the city and the COVID world.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I mean, it must be so nice to be out there and just feel a little bit more normal than you would in the cities where you're surrounded by people and you see masks everywhere, etc. So I'm sure it's quite refreshing to get all the way down to Cerro del Paine National Park. So we had a bunch of people type through that this has been very helpful. So we really appreciate your time, Mauricio, in explaining everything. I know it's a little daunting. There's so many different protocols. Things are always changing, and I know agents and operators, they have to be the ones that can answer all the questions. So it's very, very helpful for you guys to be offering this Q&A session.
Sure. And this will be, you can share this information to everyone. It will be recorded and sent to. And regarding the labs and the names and the cost, we will just send them by email. So we'll make sure we give you the right information.
One final question. You mentioned seeing a lot of pumas. Have you noticed an increase in the puma population in the park in the past 2 years
Well, it's
almost?
kind of, well, naturally, when a human takes a lot of space, when you have too many
Hmm.
humans, or sometimes nature just moves away a little bit. But let's just remember that when we talk about Torres del Paine, 95% of the park it's untouched. Like
Nice.
we only see 5% when we walk on trails or whether you find hotels and lodge. Okay, so
Right.
what I think happened, I don't think there's more pumas in the national park. I just think they're moving around a little bit more, right? So you are able to see them. It's been a year and something that they get used to some days with no one. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're not afraid of you. That's one thing. The pumas here in Torres del Paine, they're very different than the ones you have in the United States, which are more aggressive. And you hear sometimes, attacks by pumas. Here we don't have attacks. They don't really care much about you. Of course, you don't have to go and pick on their nose, right? You don't get close to them. Once you see them, you just see them respectfully from distance and take pictures. But they just they just move around normally. Hey, let's make a bonus. I will send you 3 small videos that I took with my cell phone, so they believe me that that I saw these pumas, which is a mother. I think she's pregnant, and they're just walking right between one building and the other at the hotel.
Wow.
Beautiful, beautiful puma. So we'll send this to them, to everyone.
That sounds good. I mean, you can't get more proof than that straight off your cell phone. We had one final question come through, and this will be the last one before we wrap things up. But there's a question about birding in the park.
Okay.
Is there a lot of bird watching?
Yeah, a lot of bird watching. This actually, it's been increasing. Before the Puma tracking
Hmm.
tours and experiences, all we had regarding seeing nature was the bird watching tours. So there's specialized tour operators that can actually they do bird watching, and they have, because well, this is specific skill in which you have to be very knowledgeable. All
Hmm.
our guides are very knowledgeable about the tours of Paine, about the birds and the fauna and everything. So you will see there's a big list of different birds that you can actually see in Torres del Paine in different sectors. So I would totally recommend, if someone they really love bird watching, Torres del Paine, it's one destination for sure for them.
Awesome. Okay, there you go. There you go, Julie and Casey. We will make sure to send out that video. We have some excited people. So now you promised the Pumas, Mauricio.
Yeah, I did, no
Fantastic.
problem. Just taking on my away from my cell phone.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. And thank you, of course, again, Mauricio, for your time as well. If you have any other questions, you can always reach out to me, Jen at emergingdestinations.com, or Mauricio as well. I can always put you in touch. Of course, the session's been recorded, so we will send you out the recording as well in case you want to re-listen or get a bit of a review on any of the protocols. But thanks for joining us and have a wonderful holiday season.
Okay, bye to everyone. Good New Year.